very briefly. It was NBC Universal came to me and said, "We have this. Is there anything else to be done?" And I thought about it. And Joe Wright's film is wonderful, very exciting, hugely visual. But he very much took my screenplay and did his thing with it, which is what film directors do and should do. And it became a fairy tale, really extreme. Those that have seen it will know what I mean. And I felt that over a longer form, I could perhaps tell more of a personal coming-of-age story of a young girl finding out who she is, and also a political thriller about a young girl finding out who she is. And that both of those things were, in a way, still to be discovered, in a strange way, for all of the incredible charisma of that movie. And I wanted to do something more real. And sometimes to do something more real, you have to have more time. You have to have a bit more space. And so the longer form really appealed to me. And so the wonderful guys at NBC got going on it with me, and Amazon joined up with us very early. And they've been wonderful partners. And then all we needed was just the most talented directors and cast.
And there are a couple of differences also in the storyline. I loved in particular the multicultural setup of the family in Morocco. Not only that it's extremely funny, but it's also really well thought of in terms of diversity and gender roles. So maybe you could elaborate a little bit on the differences for those who haven't seen the film.
Yeah, I mean that was just something we all talked about. One of the things, the most important things that I felt we could do, and it's disappeared. It's come back. We all felt we could do was in a funny way. I always found the film intensely male for a film about a young woman, and one of the things I think was most on top of everyone's minds was to try and let Hanna own it more, and therefore have a more female centre. So with that in mind, I'm then going to pass this thing over to Sarah, who can talk about the rest of that.
Of course, please, yes.
I'm female. Yeah, I guess, what were we talking about? About how,
Gender roles.
Gender roles. I don't know. I think the thing that really excited me about Hanna is she was a girl who was really raised without gender roles. She was raised in the woods and didn't have any of the sort of baggage that society puts on us for who we're supposed to be. And it's so much fun to then see her meet Sophie, who is a girl who has like all kinds of societal expectations of what it's supposed to mean to be a girl. And so when Hanna encounters Sophie, she's sort of encountering those expectations for the first time and starting to sort of pick and choose who she might want to be.
And how about your own process, finding your own voice and style, since there was already a film? Was that difficult, or what was the process for you?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Joe Wright's movie, and so the last thing I wanted to do as a fellow filmmaker is recreate his film. And I thought instead we had such an opportunity to just go deeper with character and relationship and have sort of a different level of patience for the emotional storytelling in the film. So that's what we really want to do, is make something sort of a little dirtier and grittier and raw and real. And where Joe Wright made this beautiful fairy tale, we wanted to sort of tell the more grounded, real story of Hanna.
Thank you so much. Now I have a couple questions for the actors. First of all, incredible performances, really layered characters. To Esme, this part asks so much of you on so many different levels. So the combat scenes and all the languages. I wanted to ask in particular about the linguistic expression of your character. How have you worked on that, the different accents and languages?
I really loved doing accents. It's really fun, and I love languages. I don't speak any others, but I think it's kind of a superpower, and I wish I could, so it was great to explore that through character.
And the combat scenes, was that you?
Most of the time, yeah. I did a lot of training and preparation and martial arts, combat skills, cardio. So I really got into it. I think it helped me develop my character. And I also feel that when you're seeing the fight scenes, it's not so much about nailing a move, a combat move to precision exactly, so much as filling it with emotion. And that's really only I can do that. So that's why it was really important to me to do those fights.
And you're navigating all these different worlds, and I love this, like this first encounter with the Polish young actor.
Yeah.
So, and I, although the variety. Sorry.
Esme also enjoyed the first encounter with the
Okay. Well, I just felt like it was so subtle. There were so many different things I could read in your face, and it was so interesting. So, did you work on this physicality also? Like, how did that change over time once you were in Morocco? Like, how did you navigate the different worlds?
I think it would just like everything. I think the more that because when you're working on television, this is something that I think obviously Joel Murray is so good at from The Killing, and Joel from Altered Carbon is you're working like really long hours, longer than on film that I'd done before, and so you're constantly immersed in performance. You're constantly having to think about character. You don't really get any breaks. We had continuous lunches. It wasn't like I could really break out of character, really. So it just became so immersive. And when we were moving around, I mean, I was saying this morning, I like traveling, but I'm very much someone who's comfortable in my own little nest, and I don't really leave my house ever. So to like go to all these places, I was kind of very intimidated by it, and I'm genuinely like when we were in this market in Nador, we were like guerrilla shooting. I don't know if I'm out there in this market. Literally, like, these are all real people, and people were fascinated by the camera, and it was kind of scary as well. Like, people were running after me and asking for photos, and it was also authentic, because what you see on camera is very real. So, sorry, I'm really rambling. I'll shut up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
For sharing. Mireille, I wanted to ask, so I find it a really interestingly written female character, and I was wondering if there were any new sides you could express, like new artistic expressions you could find with this character, or anything that was special about her.
Well, I don't usually get to play the bad guy. And obviously I think of her as much more than that. Everyone has their reasons for doing what they do, no matter how dark. And so hers are justified in some part of her brain. But still, she's the antagonist, and that's exciting to play.
And also for Rihanna, is that correct? Yeah, Rihanna. Sorry. So you two have a super beautiful relationship in this series. Like, there are so many things I could say about this. So maybe you could elaborate a little bit on how that process was for you. How did you find this like certain tonality between you two?
I just wanted to create a girl that I hadn't seen, that I wanted my sisters to see and go, oh yeah, I do that. Or like, oh yeah, I swear, and I sweat, and I eat food, and I'm normal. And, you know, it's like I grew up real sweaty, like, as a kid. And I never saw it on stage, and I was, so it was really freeing to play someone messy, because we all are very messy. And I want to tell us where.
Rianne, we were shooting that scene in the hotel bathroom where she's getting Hannah ready, and Rianne was like, Sarah, could I put bleach on my mustache? I was like, yes! This is great, and that was all Rianne's idea. Your heels falling on the stage?
Rianne's just fallen into the stage, so hold on a second. This is what normal people do. Just to speak to that a bit,